Thierry Van Landegem is Executive Director of mHub's Hardware Accelerator. mHub is a Chicago-based organization focused on developing an entrepreneurial ecosystem around physical product development and manufacturing. Thierry headed innovation and incubation at mLab Ventures, which is part of a privately owned automotive company in the New York City area that operates globally. Before that, he did consulting and managed an information communications technology consortium and was in executive positions at Alcatel Lucent Bell Labs. That's a mouthful. Thierry has an MS in electrical and electronics engineering from, will you please say it?
Well, from Brussels University. It's
Thank you.
easy. Yeah.
And an MBA from
Leuven University.
Thank you. Kiri, thanks for joining us and for helping me out with those university names. Let's just start out talking about mHub. How many startups and mentors are in its community? What kind of physical equipment does it have? I know you moved to a new facility in the last year or two, so tell us about all that.
Yeah. As you mentioned, and I'm happy to repeat that, our mission is really to enable US Hardtech innovation and commercialization. And we do this by fueling collaboration between the various stakeholders, but also providing access to what we call a hyper-resourced environment in order to develop and fund and accelerate, energy, health, manufacturing, entrepreneurship. It's a mouthful. What does it mean? We are in a new facility in the Chicago area, and we offer more than $6 million worth of equipment in various labs. So if you're a Hardtech founder and you need to build something physical, you need a metal lab. We have warm and cold forming metal machines, CNC machines, but also laser welding. If you need plastics, we can form plastics. If you need a lab to do some electronics, we have that. We have a mini assembly line for putting chips on printed circuit boards. We have a wood shop, we have a wet lab, and so on and so forth. So it's the boy in the Toy Story, right? It's really engaging, and that's also been the huge attractor of mHub. In the 8 years that we are around, we have attracted more than 600 different startups. Currently, roughly 300 plus startups active, because some of them grew too big and had to leave, and of course some of them didn't make it.
Physically, you're a co-working space.
Yes, because we not only have that workshop lab portion of the building, but we also have co-working space. And actually, you come in as as the founder, very with your initial ideas. You rent some space, you become a member of the community, and you get a shared desk. And if you feel yourself a bit better and you grow a bit more, you can have a reserve desk, you can have a mini office, maybe you have a few collaborators, you have a medium office, so you can grow with us, right? Into a real startup. And we do that from an incubation point of view as well as an acceleration point of view.
So are all your members in the space?
Yeah. Typically, what we want really is to have the members, when they become a member, to be in that space. And it's up to them whether they are 5 days a week or just a few days. But the value of being there is not just all the labs that I mentioned, but the value is especially being there in person, because it gives you the feeling of that community. You bump into people on the water cooler, the coffee machine, etc. You talk about your business. And guess what? You bump into somebody who has had exactly the same problem and can give you a ready answer. It's like, hey, don't do this, but do that, because I know, right? We help each other, because if I help you, you might be probably helping me as well later on. And that is hugely important, to be part of that community that helps each other.
It's a big space. What is it, 5 floors?
No, it's actually 3 floors. So basically the ground floor is mostly the workshop,
Yep.
the different labs and assembly, a few offices, as well as a big classroom. And then the second and third floor are basically the offices and a big event space as well.
So
8,000 square feet.
you came to mHub in 2020 and you built and launched its Hardtech Accelerator that someone from outside Chicago could apply for that accelerator. They'd have to be resident. How long does it last? 6 months?
Yeah. Yeah, good question. So, um, what I've been talking about up to now is more the incubator, right?
Right,
And the
right,
model is I become a member and I do what I need to do. I'm in
right,
charge as a founder. I want this. I try to find it, and people will help me. The accelerator is more of a cohort-based program. So we actually open up application in a certain area and domain, and I can tell all those present here that currently, we have an application window open for the next 2 months that's focusing on smart, sustainable technologies for manufacturing, but focused on water. So think about all things water, whether it's water quality, wastewater, the energy water nexus, etc. That's where we want to see startups applying to, right? And this is one of the three verticals that we look at the in the accelerator. One is that smart and sustainable manufacturing technologies. Another vertical is energy technology. So think renewable energy, decarbonization, and energy storage and the like. And then the final one is more medical devices, right? So we have one open, and what does it mean? You apply to it, and then typically we get a few hundred applications per accelerator cohort that we open up, and we go through a very stringent, call it selection review and selection process, from a couple of hundred to basically maximum 10 that we want to put in one cohort. Those 10 basically will get a program, a 6-month long program. Why 6 months? It's more than the typical accelerators that you will find because it's hard tech. It takes more time, right? That's one. Yes, we want them to be in Chicago for a fair amount of time. We understand because we typically, have founders applying from all over the US, even North America. We have several from Canada, even from Europe, from the UK, etc. So people come to us because they see the value that we provide. And so it's 6 months. We want you to be there when things happen because we understand that maybe you already have a lab somewhere and you have some people there, so you need to be there as well. So you need to be in Chicago a fair amount of time, I will always say, for the 6 months. And during those 6 months, we run a program that focuses on three main pillars. One is, call it customer discovery. So it's like, what is that problem you're solving? What is that solution you think you want to provide? Well, more than think, you already made some proof of concept or something. You validated it. What is that value proposition, right? The second pillar is then knowing what the problem is, knowing what your solution is, how to build that solution. You typically already have something, but you want to go further, right? And we accelerate, whether it's going from a proof of concept to a prototype, or whether from a prototype to maybe a pilot that you are able to do. So each of these cases are good as long as you're in need of some support, because that, I think, that pillar, the support in that product phase, I would say, is what differentiates us from many others. Because what we see is that typically a founder or co-founders have skills A, B, C, but lack skills X, Y, Z, whatever they are, in order to get to that next phase. Well, during the accelerator, we can help you. We can augment your team with those skills X, Y, Z to put you on a path towards that let's say, new phase on the product development journey. So that's the second pillar. And then the third pillar of the program is focusing on the business viability. What is that financial model, business model, go to market, etc. That's the 6 months. And after the 6 months, we don't say, Kathleen, it was great to have you. No, we keep on working with you for another 18 months. So the total support and help that we provide through not only the environment, being member for 2 years, mentorship, etc., that's a long time because we want to help you to be successful.
And can I use the equipment if I'm in the accelerator?
Yes, yes, of course. Yeah. When you're in the accelerator, you're also a member of the community. So as all the members, you can use all the equipment that is available, and not only use it, but also get the help, in order to do what you need to do. And that's really important. So again, it's not just the cohort, the 10 startups that are part of that cohort, but you're also part of the bigger community. And that's part of the reason we also want you to be there for a fair amount of time during the program, because you will learn from not just me and all the facilitators we have and mentors, but from the community at large. And that's, extremely important.
Well, I would imagine too, part of that big community are investors and other funding kind of opportunities, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, because and that's specifically for the accelerator. If you're accepted for the accelerator cohort, then you will also get an investment from mHub. So mHub also has a fund. Actually, we now have a second fund that will invest in the startups of the accelerator, not in the incubator, but only for the accelerator. That's one. And of course, part of the program and the after program, so the 2 years will be a lot about finding co-investors, because whenever they graduate from our 6-month program, they are probably in need of additional funding. And so we will help raise funds for them by connecting them to our co-investor network, all those that we know, especially investors that understand the hard tech, because I don't need to tell you that a lot of investors have no clue what it means to be a hard tech founder, because they say you need way too much money, and whenever you have a new release, it takes too long. Yeah. Hey guys, this is not software, right? This is hard tech, so it takes time.
Cecily from UW-Madison mentioned you might want to connect with the Water Council in Milwaukee. I think I remember seeing that this water accelerator right now is connected with Current in Chicago,
Correct.
which got NSF engine funding. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yeah. So because this is a water-focused accelerator, we wanted to work with a great partner, and we found one in Current, and Current indeed won a big project, an NSF engine project
Current
called.
is a Chicago organization, but
Yeah,
I know I've talked to many people in Wisconsin working with them. They
yeah,
are,
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah. They
very
are
reasonable.
extremely well connected.
Yeah.
And so the NSF engine that has been won is called the Great Lakes Renew. So it's the whole Great Lakes area with all the states connected and all the water-related organizations, both from a water utility perspective, but also industrial, corporations that, good Lord, so many corporations are using water as well. So it's both the let's say the municipal type of utility side, but also the industrial side that is involved in the Great Lakes Renew, as well as in Current and with Current. And that gives a great combination, because one, we at mHub have been doing several cohorts, always focusing on that phase, helping to build that prototype, make yourself ready for a pilot at a customer. And guess what? Current with the Great Lakes Renew has the test beds in order to run the pilot. So the combination of two puts you on that path in order to get to commercialization.
So
Because
Current is very engaged with this
yeah,
cohort you're putting together.
Yeah, oh yeah. We run it together basically, just to be clear. Yeah.
So, can you talk a little bit about the application process and, really like what's a great application?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Um, so the application process, as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, we opened up, and we typically keep it open for 2 months. So if you're a water startup and you're interested, you have time till July 23rd, because then we close it. Um, what we typically do when we open up applications for a new cohort, we identify together with our partner, and that's why we always work with partners, whether it's industrial, in this case current with industrial as well. We identify a number of challenges. So it's confirmation like, yes, this is a problem, it's a big problem. Example, in this new water upcoming accelerator, water quality, right? As just detecting, sensing the water quality, but also wastewater treatment. You know that in wastewater there is really bad stuff, but also some good stuff actually. So it's finding, detecting, some of these minerals as well as rare earth metals. So selecting, filtering them out, and then so that it can be reused, in the recycling circular type of economy type of thinking, but also detecting the bad guys in there, contaminants such as the PFAS, the forever chemicals. So detecting and then filtering them out and destroying them as another example. But it's also about the nexus between water and energy. Again, when we
So,
talk
but
about waste.
you're gonna get a lot of applications in all
Yeah,
those areas. What makes an application
yeah,
stand out?
yeah. So I gave you a couple of examples
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
areas. And what we will do when we go through the review and selection process, we really look at a couple of things. One is, of course, the area, the problem space that you're attacking. It should be fitting within those challenges that we identified. Two, what is that solution you propose, right? Is that has it been validated in one way or another? It should be more than just an idea on a napkin, to be honest and fair. So, have you done some early proof of concept or some simulation? So, some validation that there is something there and that we have a big market for it. And then, three, really important, is the team behind it. It's almost like first the who and then the what, in the sense that we need to get a good confirmation that you are an expert in the field, you know the field, you have been working in the field, you're well connected, etc. And then finally, we also look at part of the governance, right? It's more is like, have you already set up a corporation of sorts, some legal entity, so that remember, we can also make an investment, because whenever you're selected, we want to invest. So, and we will score each of those application dossiers on these aspects in order to determine what are the top 10 in there.
It's what a great thing for a region that you are coalescing all these resources and
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's important because in the breakout we were talking about, wow, this is what you organize. Congrats, kudos to you, because you bring together all these people, and in some cases we don't know of what the others are doing, and it's
Mm,
trying to bring together all these elements to get that holistic picture.
right.
And there's so much work to do. There is a role for each of us, and we try to do some of that by working together with a partner like Current, with industry corporations, to make sure that we are working on real relevant societal impacting
So that was one of the
outcomes.
questions someone asked in your network. You do have larger companies then and strategics, and that's part of the whole mix.
Yeah. We have corporate partners in general, from industry and other areas, which are there because we want to make sure that we are helping and focusing on startups that are really solving real problems, hard problems, where there will be a market.
Yeah.
Two, we believe strongly in that collaboration between a startup that is flexible, nimble, and fast moving, and the breadth and scope of the bigger corporation, because they have like customers, they know how to go to market, they have a huge supply chain that is backing them up. If you can combine those two, good Lord, you have a winning combination, right?
Well, thanks for pulling it all together, Thierry. It was wonderful talking with you, and it'll be fun to watch who ends up in your cohort for this next
Yes, looking
accelerator.
forward to that. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.